Welcome back to Subscriptions 101. My name is Attila. We spoke about the relevance of local payment methods. We spoke a little bit about their complexity and ultimately concluded that offering local payment methods alongside credit cards can be a very powerful way of augmenting your subscription payment strategy. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the challenges around the technical complexities that we are facing at PPRO in order to build such a local payments platform. To illustrate this, I think there's three buckets that we really look at on a daily basis. One is cash payment, local payment methods, if you so think. Think about the boletos, the OXXO-Pays or the Kombinis in Japan, right? Here, the initial intent was a customer receives a utility bill, they take it to a local convenience store and they pay it in cash. That has come into the e-commerce space. But the assumption is really that the consumer is there in the store. It just doesn't lend itself to recurring or subscription payments. In the same way that there used to be these prepaid, non-rechargeable credit or debit cards, right? Again, here, and merchants spend a lot of effort trying to filter those out in the beginning because they're not meant to have a subscription payment. So they unfortunately don't work. They're a bit of a novelty. There's not too many of them, but I would see them exclusively to be used for one-time payments. On the other hand, you have some schemes that offer true subscription payments, or we would call that native versus non-native. So a great native example would be Twint in Switzerland. The payment method is well designed for one-time payment methods, and it also works for subscription payments. Perfectly fine. You then have payment methods like Ideal in the Netherlands, one of those schemes with a high customer adoption. It's almost a must for any business that wants to sell to the Netherlands. And it has a conversion rate north of 95%. Now, it was designed for one-time payments manually where the customer is in session. It doesn't have a tokenizing infrastructure to handle the mandates. Does that mean you can't use it? No, it doesn't. Because at PPRO, we can wrap our platform capabilities around it and turn that into, despite being non-native supporting of subscription payments, to enable that for you. How does that work? Well, the initial payment is done via Ideal. And in the payment response, we can then extract the payment instrument, which is the IBAN, so the bank account of your Dutch bank in this case. And with the consent of the consumer, the recurring steps that then happen in regular intervals are actually done via SEPA direct debit. And we see this on a number of schemes, for instance, EPS in Austria. A third challenge, and that's not to be underestimated, is really bank adoption. You can have the perfectly designed scheme for recurring payments, fancy logos, and everybody wants it. But if the banks in a given country don't fully support it, we would actually prefer to wait until you hit a certain percentage. So there's some countries where 3 out of the 10 leading banks are supporting subscription payments, and they're gradually rolling it out. And despite us offering it, the documentation is up, you can test it in Sandbox, we would still advise our customers not to offer it at this point. These are the challenges we face, but maybe we end up with some of the excitement that we're going to see in 2025 and that I really wanted to share. One is Pix. Pix in Brazil, at the time of recording, has just released their subscription solution. So whereas yesterday you were only able to do one-time payments, you can now use it for all of your subscriptions in Brazil. And it's one of those exponentially growing payment methods where we saw a lot of adoptions, really a big success story for the market. Wero is really interesting, and you're going to hear more about this in the coming weeks and months. Again, Wero as sort of a Pan-European payment initiative will start with one-time payments and then quickly follow up with the subscription payments, fully native. And Swish and BLIK, so Swish in Sweden and BLIK in Poland, are two very interesting schemes. And despite them natively supporting subscription payments, we still see some adoption challenges on the bank side. Again, towards the end of 2025, we hope it hits a threshold and we can then offer it to all of our customers. There's many more schemes. I picked 4 almost randomly, but I think when it comes to subscription payments and using those ones to supplement your credit card offering, 2025 and the years to come is a great time to do so. with this one. Thank you very much. If you found this interesting, please have a look at the other videos in our Subscription 101 series.